Hey everybody, what's going on? It's James here. I'm just shooting an update video for you. It's just before 3 a.m. on Monday, July 29th, my time. And the market's been pretty interesting the last 48 hours. So we had a lot of consolidation. Night before last, it was a terrible day for day trading. I didn't take a single trade. I think the first time I didn't do a trade in probably over a month. But everything was just moving sideways. And then yesterday, of course, while I was sleeping during the day, you know, the price dumped down to around 9,100 bucks, and it got interesting, right? There's, you know, a lot of bullish talk. Still, there's some bearish talk as well, finally starting to come through. You know, I've seen people saying that because we didn't go lower than this low here, that this is going to, you know, now go up to maybe 10.8. It's possible, okay? Here's my view. And remember, this is just one man's opinion. We're still inside the triangle, in my opinion. Okay, when this thing came down like that, all it did was test the same line that we were already watching from before. That same line of support right around $9,100. Okay, so now we've got this bigger descending triangle. And if you look at this top line coming down, look at this. It did not break through the top of our triangle. Okay, no matter how you draw this, like if you draw it like this, it didn't break through. If you draw it down to this line, you know, maybe you could say, okay, well, it broke through if you're drawing it down there. But look at all these other times that it, you know, tiptoed above it. I don't think that's the line. Okay, I think it's more likely that this is probably the line. If you're wondering why I'm drawing it that way, it's because it touched. Okay, here's our start. 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. Slipped above it right there, so we won't call it a touch. Very close here, very close here. Slipped above it there. You see, that to me is the trend line. That is the downward trend line. All right, so that is my line. And if we look, this candle did not break through that. Now, could it touch it? I'm not so sure it won't. I could definitely see this going up, testing this line up around $9,800, not $10,800, but $9,800, and then coming back down. And then what would be important is we'd have to watch and see what Bitcoin did down at this level. I do not believe that this line is going to hold up to another test. All right. I think if we go down there and touch it a third time, because this doesn't count, this was 1, 2. I think if we touch it a third time, I think it fails. All right. And I think we finally see our lower low. Let's get rid of the triangle here. We want to try to keep this chart as clean as possible. We are still, and this boggles my mind. I saw people today, 2 different people told me that we are in an obvious uptrend. And I just wanted to ask them, and I did ask them, what chart are you looking at? Where do you see an uptrend on this thing? Okay, this was an uptrend. This low was still a higher low. That was still an uptrend. This could have, if this had went up here, that would have been an uptrend. It didn't, okay? This was a lower low. This is a lower, this was a lower high. This was a lower low. This was a lower high. Now what they're saying is this wasn't a lower low, okay? So what? This isn't done, okay? If this goes up like this and then goes down here, there's our lower low. Markets do not move in straight lines. Look, it came down here. That wasn't a lower low. Came up a little bit, came down, came up, came down, right? That's just markets for you. They're not going to be so simple as to just go straight to where you want them to go to or where you don't want them to go to. So we are still in an obvious downtrend. Now, today is an important day because this is our daily candle right here. This is a daily chart. This right here, you could make the argument that that's a hammer candlestick. I don't really think it is. I don't like the fact that it's got that wick on top of it. But you could say it's a hammer candlestick, which is actually a reversal pattern. And we could get something like this, okay? Obviously this one was much thicker, but we could get something like this where we bounce back up. And if we did, then yes, we could bounce back up. Do I think we're going to go to 10.8? No, I don't. Is it possible? Absolutely. I think if we have a strong bounce, we might get up to 10.4, maybe up to 10.6, right at the bottom of this candle here. Okay, this close of this candle. Maybe we could get there. I think it's more likely if we do get a bounce that we'll either stop at 9,800 or 10,000 and then just turn around and go lower. So that's where I'm sitting at right now. If we look at a 4-hour chart, and I'm going to tell you this is going to be a little messy if you're not used to looking at this. Let's look at my charts look. This is a weekly. Let's look at a 4-hour. Okay, so these yellow lines that you see, these are weekly support levels. All right, the reason they're yellow is so that I can differentiate them when I'm trading. So these are weekly support levels. The green dotted lines are daily support levels. So obviously yellow stronger, green still pretty dang strong on a daily. And if you look, we came down and really just played around in these levels, right? This was a weird deal. I'll talk about that in just a second. We had this huge drop, and then we came up and failed at this 96.96 support. Okay, in full disclosure, I did open up a short right around this level. And all we really did was run into the bottom of this neckline, right? We had this M, very, very easy to spot M. And this was actually our neckline right here, and we ran right into it and failed. Okay, it acted as resistance. So again, I wouldn't be surprised to see us go up there and test that again. I wouldn't be surprised to see this go up to 9,800 and test this area here. But I don't think we'll get much above that. Maybe, possibly up to 98.83, but I think we get stopped cold if we make it that high. Now, the interesting thing is people might look at this and say, okay, there was no support. This was open air. Why did it stop? There actually was a reason that stopped. I mean, there's always a reason, but an obvious reason. If you look at the weekly chart, all that did was come down and test the 12 moving average. All right, so the EMA, the 12 EMA, it just tested it and bounced right off of it. It's the same thing that it did last week. It came down and tested the 12 EMA and it bounced off of it. And again, I don't think it's going to hold up. I think if it gets tested again, it's going to fail and we'll start sliding lower. Now, the levels that I'm watching right now, because it doesn't mean, again, that it's going to go straight down. You know, I want to see how this thing acts down in these important levels. So right here is right around 89.75. I want to see how it acts there. Is that going to be our new low? And then are we going to bounce off of it? Maybe, maybe not. If not, is 87.31 our low? You know, we're going to go down and fill the gap. You know, what's going to happen? And I'll just watch it, and I'll watch for structure. But even though I still think that we're going to go down to that 61.8 fib, down around $7,200, the reality is I'm still looking to play the bounces, because if this comes down and makes a new low, okay, there's no reason that it could not bounce and come up and retest like 9,500, and that's a really good trade. You know, if I can get in down on this support down around 8,700 and play the bounce and sell up around 9,500, that's about a 10%, 9/10%, somewhere in that ballpark. You know, let's measure it. That's about, okay, no, nowhere near 9%. My math was bad, sorry. No, wait, 9,500 was way up here. This is only 9,300, sorry. So if we went up and tested 9,300, it'd be about a 6 or 7% bounce, right? Really good trade. But I think even in that scenario, I think we just bounce, we fail, and then we go down, right? Either to the 7,600 area, 6,900 area, or possibly even lower. But I don't think, and I could be wrong, I mean, sometimes when these things get full-blown panic, they move a lot faster than you expect. We could fall right through and just, you know, rocket down. It's usually not how it happens, right? Usually you're going to get some type of bounce, you're going to get the dead cat bounce, and then you're going to continue down. And we've been doing that for over a month now, okay? Look at this. This didn't go straight down. Look, it went down, came up, went down, came up, went down, had a bit of a reversal, sucked some people in on the bull trap. Down, up, down, up, down, up, right? Look at this. And when you draw that out, look how easy it is to spot this stuff. Look at this. Giant M, right? M's are bear signals. They're double tops, okay? Which is the same thing we had over here. A giant M, okay? So I'm still bearish. I mean, nothing has changed. I haven't done a video in a couple of days because I really didn't have anything new to add. It's just the same thing I've been saying for 30 days, right? And I hope like hell that this helps some people out, because the reality is for the people that were listening to me a month ago, if they shorted, I said 13.1. I thought 13.1 was where it would top. That was when it was around 12.5, right? It actually topped up around 13.2. But, you know, for the people that went short around 13.1, look at this. Right now, that short's up about 26.5%. And if they closed it down at the bottom, it was over 30%, right? That's a massive gain, right? On one trade, a person could have made 30%. And even if they, like I said, even if they missed the bottom right now, they'd still be up 26% on that short. So, you know, that's what I'm doing as far as day trading goes. Day trading is day trading, like I say in every video, right? You can play these moves all day long. You don't have to wait for the market to resolve. The rare occasion, rare exception is when you get something like this all through here. None of my setups that I trade came in, so I didn't get to take a trade during this whole time. But I was very lucky because I did short it right there. So I shorted it up here and closed the position down here. And some people ask me, James, why would you close it? If you're bearish, why would you close it? I'm a day trader. That's what I do, right? I don't leave positions open overnight. So, I can open it up there. I can close it down here. And then I reopened it over here. And I actually opened two of them. Well, three of them, but one of them was an order split in two. So two of them really. I opened one right around there, and I opened one right up there. Okay, so I have two shorts that are open right now, and so you got to take that into consideration when I'm doing a bearish video. Please remember that it benefits me if the market drops. I'm not trying to scare you. I don't have enough influence to move the market, but full disclosure, it is what it is. But yeah, day trading is day trading. There's really nothing special about that. As far as the 4-hour chart goes, I told you what I'm looking for. As far as the hourly chart goes, I told you what I'm looking for. And the one thing that we didn't talk about yet was, we are inside of a triangle on the 4-hour RSI. And if you don't draw trend lines on your oscillators, it's something I would highly recommend doing. They can give you some insights. For example, the reason that I was able to take a short up here right before this huge dump, this is like an $800 move. The reason I was able to get that is because I knew that we were coming up into resistance on my RSI. Now, there were other things that supported it and validated the trade. That's not a reason by itself to take a trade. But when it lines up with other factors, for example, a weekly resistance level, it was an obvious trade to take. Okay. But yeah, you can draw triangles on there, and it really helps, to know what's going on. If you get up to the top of a triangle or the bottom of a triangle and you fall through it or you break through it, typically you'll see a big move, right? You'll see one of these types of moves, like, come crashing down like this, or you'll see something go shooting up like this type of stuff. So, the market's been very, very giving as long as you're not a hodler. If you're hodling, the last month it's probably been torture on you, and that's why I don't like holding coins. That's why I'm not I'm not a hodler. It's just not. I did that game. I played that game all through 2018, and it was soul crushing, and it nearly bankrupted me, and I don't, not too fond of that. When the market turns around and we're back into a bull rally or a bull market, whichever happens, either a bull rally and a bear market or a bull market, hopefully a bull market would be nice, then I'll buy coins and I'll hold those coins, and then my trading will shift, and instead of trading US dollar pairs, for example, BTC USD, then I'll start trading Bitcoin pairs where I'm increasing the amount of Bitcoin I have, and then I'll ride that Bitcoin as long as the trend exists, and then when I think the trend breaks, I'll convert it back over to fiat, and I'll go back to trading US dollar pairs. So that's how I trade the market. If it's in a downtrend, then I trade US dollar pairs and I short the market. If it's in an uptrend, I trade Bitcoin pairs, I hold Bitcoin, I trade Bitcoin pairs, and I only sell when I think the market's getting ready to correct. So lots of cool stuff. It's a great market. If you're feeling beat up over the last 30 days, I would say it's because you don't know how to trade yet, and I would highly recommend you learn. So if you would like to learn step 1 to doing that, check the description of this video. There's actually going to be a link down there. You can follow me on Twitter, you can follow me on TradingView, and you can also come hang out in my free Facebook group. And I share, probably 5, 6, 7 posts a day in that Facebook group, all kinds of technical analysis stuff, trades I'm taking, just all kinds of stuff that I'm watching in the market. If I did a video every time I did a post, there'd be 5 or 10 videos a day. But I normally just throw them up in that Facebook group. So you don't have to take the trades off of it. I'm not telling you to trade off of my analysis. I'm just saying it's a good thing to have, right? You can go in there and you can look at it, and it's one more viewpoint to consider. And then, maybe it will line up with your own viewpoint. Maybe it will give you something to think about. And if you're brand new, maybe it'll give you some kind of window into this trading stuff. Because I will tell you that one of the things I hated about cryptocurrency was how stressful it was, right? It was very, very stressful to me to hold coins and hope and pray that they went up, right? And then every time they dropped, it would just introduce this massive anxiety where I was afraid to leave my house because what if my coins crashed? I don't have that anymore because I don't have any coins, right? I just have my shit coins that I had from 2017 that I'm not going to touch because they're long-term capital gains, like I've talked about previous videos. But overall, if you can learn to trade, the FOMO goes away because you're not worried about it. There's always another bust. There's always another opportunity. It's no big deal. You can beat the market if you know how to trade. And, if you're not sure about that, if you're thinking to yourself, well, James, you can't beat the market when Bitcoin's, when Bitcoin goes to 50 grand, if you're not holding it, you're screwed. That's bullshit. That's straight bullshit. Right now, Bitcoin is $9,600. Okay. So if it goes to $50,000, that's just over a 400% gain. Okay, and if we're talking about $50,000, a lot of people think by 2022, so that's basically 3 years away. So that's a 5x gain. We'll call it 5x, even though it's not actually 5x. We'll call it a 5x gain in 3 years. If you are a trader and you average 0.5% per day, and you roll your money back in, meaning you compound your returns, you will make more than 500% per year. Which means that over the course of 3 years, you'll actually have 3 times the return, making 0.5% per day trading that you would have as holding Bitcoin if Bitcoin goes to $50,000. Bitcoin would have to go to $150,000 plus in the next 3 years to provide you the exact same return as making 0.5% per day trading. And if you're really good and you can get 1% per day, that is a 3,700% return per year, which means Bitcoin would have to go to over $900,000 to give you the exact same return. I'm not saying you'll get those returns. I'm saying that's the goals that I shoot for. That's why I'm a trader and not a hodler. I know that I can make 0.5% per day, and I think I can consistently make 1% per day. I've been doing it this year. Okay, I don't know how it's going to play out the rest of the year. I can't predict the future, but I'm telling you, learn to trade. It'll be the best skill that you ever have in your life. Whether you have it, eventually you never know. You could end up leaving your job. You could end up having a second income. You could end up closing a business. I literally had a business that had been open for, over 6 years, and I closed it so I could trade because the opportunity is that good and trading is that rewarding when you know what you're doing. All right. So this is James. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you will check the description and come hang out over on Facebook. Like I said, I try to give as much value as I can. I know that's very cliche, but if you get in there, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And you'll see for yourself that it's something that I work on very, very hard. And I'm very serious about bringing people into the fold when it comes to trading. So please remember, I am literally some guy sitting in a spare bedroom. I am not a professional financial advisor, and nothing in this video is financial advice. You should always do your own due diligence and seek out professional investment advice for making any type of investment in cryptocurrency. All right, this is James. I'll talk to you in the next video.